because he had been arrested for flouting COVID-19 rules.
Yeah, first
and you're saying there's something deeper.
Yes, first you need to understand I was there as a lawyer, and therefore you need not to kill the messenger. Me, my work is just to give legal representation. Be that as it may, let me give you the context. You see, for the last several years, there has been several by-elections in Mount Kenya region.
Oh, Senator, the microphone kind of slipped off. Can we see it, please? Okay, let me help you. If I can help you. Yep, pardon me. Pole. Hey, man, we thought you had disappeared in your conspiracy. All right, so for several years.
So you need to understand, for the last several years, since Jubilee seems to have split, there have been several by-elections in our region, and almost all of them have been won by people who are associating themselves with Deputy President William Ruto. I'll give you an example. In Keharo constituency in Murang'a, Gaturi by-election, it was won by a young lady who defeated a Jubilee candidate. She was associating with Deputy President. Naivasha, at a ward called Lakeview, another Kikuyu region, Deputy President candidate won. Also, we had Nakuru, another Kikuyu-dominated ward, London, UDA won. So now, we have a by-election in Juja. And also we have another by-election in Mogoga. We also have another by-election at a place called, we have Muguga, we have Juja, and now we have Kiamba constituency. So, in Juja, the person who appears like he's going to win is called Koimburi. He is being supported by a party associated with Moses Kuria called PEP. Because of that, government machinery is very unhappy. They are fearing that Moses Kuria candidate Koimburi is going to defeat them in Juja. So, Moses Kuria went to Kiamba. They thought that he's going there now to prepare for a UDA candidate or a PEP candidate. His party is called PEP. The party associated with Moses Kuria is called PEP. So, and therefore, a Tanga person is going to be fronted in Kiamba and defeat Jubilee candidate, which is going now to continue causing embarrassment. By the way, we also have another by-election in Nyandaro. Again, the person who is ahead is a UDA candidate.
So you're saying the reason Moses Kuria was arrested was because...
Yeah, it is true, because he is embarrassing the government in Juja. His candidate is about to win and defeat a government-sponsored candidate in Juja. Again, he was in Kiamba yesterday. So they sent 100 policemen to arrest him so that he doesn't present a candidate at Kiamba constituency. For me, Jeff, let me tell you one thing. Their ideals as Kenyans, we should support 100%. We should protect. One is freedom. Two is liberty. Three is democracy. Those are things that Matiba fought, Mr. Rubia fought. This station is here because of the democracy that was fought by people like Matiba. So when I see the government starting now to fight to whittle down democracy, arresting people like Moses Kuria, arresting several persons by the weeks in Juja. No.
Flouting COVID rules.
I'm telling you, it's politics. In Juja currently, Koimburi is missing because he's fearing arrest. His wife is currently being pursued by the government. Why? Because he has just offered himself to vie against a government-sponsored candidate, and he appears he's going to win.
Senator, that's
so the truth.
Jeff, why don't you engage me in a conversation that I can participate in?
It is the truth.
Because
so
I cannot
Moses,
participate in...
when you see Moses being arrested yesterday, there's a
local politics that he calls Kikuyu zone politics. Because he said, he talked of areas being Kikuyu zones.
One point.
I have no... I can't discuss that.
No, 1 point. There are people who are not believing that Miyama Kikuyu voting for a non-Kikuyu. They can't believe it. He is a Luo. He is voting for a Luo. Me, a non-Kikuyu, fighting 100% to support Ruto, who is a non-Kikuyu. That's a revolution. We have never reached that stage.
Okay, let's
so they can do anything to stop.
Jeff, you asked the reason why we are young, we are fairly well learned, and we are not grabbing the opportunity. It's because of this kind of attitudes that we are here on national television. We are in the living rooms of millions of Kenyans from all over the country, and we want to use this show to push campaigns in a small corner of the country, and expecting that in that corner of the country the political direction should be X. And if it is not X, then it is because someone is popular in that region. Do you know, Jeff, where Kangata has said a Kikuyu stronghold in Nakuru? My own brother is an elected MCA in Nakuru. What is calling a Kikuyu stronghold? It is those kind of ethnic identities and ethnic labels that will stop us from going far as a country. We must not look at everything from the prism of ethnicity and the prism of local politics. If I am arrested at 7 p.m. just before the curfew and I'm Moses Kuria, then the government is infringing on my freedom of association, speech, liberty, and everything. If I'm arrested at 8:05 p.m., that is a completely different matter, because even the necessary statutes and regulations that impose the curfew have to come through Parliament. It is Parliament, where we are members, that has endorsed and approved that under the Statutory Instruments Act. So if someone is arrested after 8:05, and I do recall our colleague Senator Sakaja, the senator for Nairobi, was arrested at a place which was called, I think people called it Ladies' Lounge. I don't know whether it exists.
That's the one.
But at that point in time, Kangata was whip. And do you know, Sakaja said the same things that he's saying today about Moses Kuria. He was convinced that he was arrested because he was taking a firm stand on the issue of formula for revenue allocation. And he had no doubts as to who had commissioned the arrest. It was Irungu Kangata. And that's why I wonder how he sleeps when he has the blood of almost all his colleagues on his hands. But I think to much more fundamental issues. Before the break, Kangata said something which must be interrogated. That when BBI came and the handshake came, then things went haywire. And that everything was okay on track until the BBI. Does it mean that the handshake killed the hospitals that should have been built over 7 years? And over those 7 years, the average budget of the government was about 2 trillion. So you're talking of about 14 trillion later. Those things that he's so articulately talking about that could be done today, why didn't we do them in those 7 years? And it was a realization that the politics that we had and the structures and institutions that we had to be tinkered to ensure that even if Kangata becomes the president for the next 5 years, he will have the opportunity to focus on his core duty, which is to develop and to bring prosperity to Kenyans. He must, and Kangata is a man I respect because he's also a deep thinker and a researcher. He recently got his PhD in law, and we share a lot of deep ideas. He must run away from this politics of glorification of individuals simply because those individuals hold the key to his re-election. We must start interrogating issues, Kangata. If we were fixated on Tangatanga and Kieleweke politics at some point, if we are fixated on BBI politics at some point, look at where we are. Our economy is in shambles. We have a recession. Even though our economists are not telling us that we have a recession, we definitely have a recession. Our GDP has shrunk. Jobs have been lost. Lives have been lost. Is it possible for us at this point in time, rather than our fixation that Tangatanga will fix it, Hustler narrative will fix it, BBI will fix it, could we be then talking about, as leaders, encouraging a conversation that will be geared towards an economic revival even before 2022, because it is possible. We still have 1 year to go, and Kenyans are still paying taxes. You cannot tell them pay your taxes for 1 year, then change will come after 1 year when Tangatanga has taken over government. I think as young leaders, we must be more circumspect in the manner in which we look at issues and not just ascribe a narrative. But I mean, my friend Kangata is gifted because besides being a fake pollster, he can write very good fiction.
You see,
Moranga Road.
Yeah.
Moranga Road.
You see, my brother.
Good.
My friend here happens to be the chair of the devolution committee, meaning he is now government. He should be providing solutions and remedies. In fact, those questions you are raising concerning about problems in the counties, failure by the counties to provide mechanisms to address the problem of COVID-19, he should be giving us the solution. It is his problem. Yeah, my work as a senator, who is now a backbencher, is to raise those issues. In fact, whenever I see a problem in devolution, I remember the chair of devolution. He should be telling me, how come Murang'a County cannot, for instance, provide adequate oxygen to the people of Murang'a? How come Murang'a County, for instance, there are various deep issues about it? Yeah, because it's the chair of devolution committee.
When you were in government, when you were majority whip, what did you do?
Yeah, you see, my work was to constitute committees so that my brothers here can provide those answers. So whenever I'm now asking those answers, he should be giving me the statement. So he should be telling me. He is the chair of a committee.
Okay.
A committee of the Senate. But so by the way,
now that you're on the outside of the tent, you're looking in and saying, hey.
Yeah, brother, tell me what's happening.
We are misleading the nation.
So to that, handshake is what... That's what really...
You see, look here, my brother. Look at the billions of shillings we're expending in BBI. If our leaders, the handshake guys, are people who have a vision for the betterment of this country, they'll be holding that process. It's not a life and death process. It may have some maybe good proposals worth consideration, but we are talking of an emergency, what we call force majeure, something that is so important that at times you hold everything in constant to address that issue.
But you politicians, and I'm not saying you individually, but I'm saying politicians in general seem to be the weak link in this fight against COVID-19, the weak link. The super spreader events you people were having earlier on, they were horrible. This is how people got sick. You people are not taking it as seriously as you should. That's what, the majority of people think.
I think from where we sit, those of us who belong to Hustler Nation, we post our rallies.
Yeah, you post them. You had no choice.
Yeah.
You had no choice.
No. For us, we strongly support all endeavors which ought to be put in place to fight this pandemic. In fact, that is why we are saying, okay, this BBI issue, please use those billions to fight COVID-19. Okay. I think if you really love this country, and you want the betterment of this country, you'll be supporting such kind of opposition.
Senator Kajwang, you want to say something real quick?
Yeah, Jeff, you see, the overarching development blueprint for this country still remains a Vision 2030, even though we are off target. We are off the mark on many of the targets that we set for ourselves. But everything we are doing, even the Jubilee Manifesto, even the current Big Four, they are just derived from the Vision 2030. But a way of looking at the Vision 2030, there's usually a graphical representation of 3 pillars that the country must pursue for it to achieve that lofty Vision 2030. One is a political pillar, the other is a social pillar, and the other is an economic pillar. And people who are experts in this matter will tell you that if you chase one pillar at the expense of others, you are not going to achieve broad-based and sustainable development. You need to deal with them simultaneously. Unfortunately, because politicians have been driving this process, the political pillar has achieved more attention than the social and economic pillar. There is nothing wrong, and I agree with Kangata, that we must focus on the economic pillar, particularly now with the pandemic. We must also relook at the social pillar, especially issues to do with healthcare, issues to do with education, and those other soft things that this nation has been failing in. But you cannot say that drop the political pillar and just pick the economic pillar. It is like the traditional African cooking space. I think in the English word is heath or hearth, something like that. It is 3 stones. Yeah. You are only going to make ugali if the 3 stones are there and if you balance. We have been focusing too much on one stone. And I agree that the economy has not gotten as much attention as it should be. But that is not to say that those who are pursuing the political pillar are making a mistake. What we need to encourage is just greater focus, greater emphasis on the 3 pillars. And in the 7 years, and I've asked him, in those 7 years that he says that he was part of government, he does not want to say anything. He's only talking of the 2 months that I've been chair of devolution committee. I think that's not the way
not 2 months, 1 year.
All right, I have to take a break, gentlemen. Come back, there's plenty more. Just a quick, short break.
Seek ye first the economic kingdom and everything shall be added upon.
Well,
Seek ye
Is he a preacher now?
Seek ye first the economic
Nkrumah,
freedom.
it depends on where you stand. The Nkrumah school of thought, seek ye
take
first
a
the
break.
political kingdom,
Come
and
back.
all else shall be added.
And also your questions on Twitter, we'll take those as well. Seek ye first.
economic.
Okay.
And
Back in a
everything-
moment.